Hi guys, welcome to this second video tutorial on Pascal programming. Today we're going to take a look at quite a few things. So we're going to take a look at inputting data into Pascal, which means we're going to get the user to input values into Pascal, whether they're numbers or they're decimal numbers or they're characters or maybe even string data. So without any further ado, let's get started. Let's take a look at this. So I'm going to open up Pascal XC here, and I'm going to create a new program. So I'm just going to build my structure. So I'm going to call this one program lesson, second lesson, like so. Don't forget that program names have to be one word and they can't begin with numbers. Okay, and this will be followed by begin and further down end. Okay, so for today we're going to create quite a few variables. So to do that, we're going to type here between the program statement and the begin statement, we're going to write the word var, just to tell Pascal that we're going to create variables. And the first variable I'm going to create will be a variable that will store only a single letter. Okay, so that will be we'll call it initial. Okay, and I'm going to go semicolon, and I'm going to tell it that this is going to be a character. So char, okay, for Pascal, and I'm going to put semicolon. The second variable I'm going to create is going to be a variable that will hold a string, which means many letters together. So I'm going to call that first name. And this is going to be of type string, like so. The third variable I'm going to create is a variable with an integer data type. So I'm going to call that one grade, and I'm going to give it a colon, and then I'm going to type in integer, like so. And the last one I'm going to create is a variable called average, or AVG for short, AVG. And this one's going to have a data type of real, which means it will hold decimal numbers. Now, each of these variables, as you can see, have different data types for different purposes. Now, please remember that if we created a variable, for example, the grade variable here, that's of data type integer, and we try and store a decimal number inside of it, it won't work. It will give us an error. Okay? So the program I'm going to create is a simple program. It's going to be a program that will ask me for my name, and then it will store it, and then it will ask me what grade I got, and it will store it, and then it will also ask me what average I got, and it will store it, and at the end it will output all the information that we stored. So in this case, I'm going to go in the begin section, and here I'm going to initialize the grade variable. So I'm going to give it a value of 0. So before the program starts, the grade will have a value of 0, and I will also initialize the AVG variable, which will also have a value of 0.0. Okay, and all that's left is now we need to create a statement or show something on the screen that will ask us for information. So to do this, I'm going to create I'm going to use the write-ln command. So here we go, write-ln. And I'm going to open my brackets, put a single quote, and I'm going to say, please write your name, like so. And I'm going to put single quote back, and I'm going to close brackets, and I'm going to put semicolon. And then I'm going to store this. So when the user types in his name, I'm going to store whatever he types in into the first name variable. So I'm going to go and type in readln, and instead of putting a semicolon like we did before, I'm going to open parenthesis, and I'm going to type the name of the variable where I want whatever the user writes to be stored in. So in this case, I want everything to be stored in first name, like so. And then I'm going to add a semicolon to tell Pascal that I finished with this statement. Now, after the user's done that, I'm going to ask him then for the first letter of his last name. So that will be, actually, you know what? I'm going to ask for their gender. So I'm going to ask the user to type in M or F, male or female. Okay. And this will be used with the initial variable. Okay. So it will be the initial of the gender. Okay. So I'm going to say type F for female or M for male. Okay. And I'm going to close parenthesis, semicolon, and then I'm going to put a readln, like so, and I'm going to type in the parenthesis the variable I want this information to be stored in. So I want it to be stored in the initial variable, which only stores single characters. So I'm going to type here initial, like so. Then I'm going to ask for what grade this person got. So I'm going to hit write-ln one more time. And I'm going to say, what grade did you get in computer science? Like so. I'm going to semicolon, and I'm going to store, actually, let's fix this. Let's say, what number grade did you get in computer science? And now I'm going to store whatever the user writes here by using the readln. Okay, and I'm going to store it in the grade variable, so grade, like so. And last but not least, I'm going to say write-ln, and I'm going to ask the user to tell me what their average was. What was your average grade in computer science? Okay, and I'm going to store that value by using the readln again. Okay, I'm going to type grade, and that's pretty much done. So basically, whatever we're going to write into the command prompt will be stored in different types of variables. Okay, so then I'm going to create an output to show all this information. So I'm going to say in the output, hello, Stavros, you are a boy or a male, okay, or an M's, sorry, because we're storing the initial. Okay, I'm going to say after you got a specific grade in computer science, and then I'm going to say, and your average was, and it's going to be that specific grade. I've just noticed that I've made a little silly mistake. In the last write-ln statement here, I asked for what was your average grade in computer science, and I used grade again. Now, this isn't a big mistake, but if I leave it as so, it means that whatever the user wrote in the previous question will be replaced with whatever the user wrote in this question. So I'm going to change that to AVG, okay, which is the average. Okay, and now I'm going to output a message, so write-ln, and I'm going to say single quote, hello. I'm going to leave a space, and I'm going to put another single quote and the comma, and now I want it to show whatever the user wrote for the first question, so I'm going to say show whatever is inside first name, like so. Then I'm going to put another comma, and I'm going to open another single quote. I'm going to leave an empty space so that whatever I write next won't be stuck to the first name. And I'm going to say you are a, okay, I'm going to leave a space, close quote, comma, and then I'm going to show whatever is stored in the initial, so initial, like so. Then I'm going to put another comma, and I'm going to open quote, leave another space, and I'm going to say you got colon, I'm going to close quotes, put a comma, and then I'm going to show what we got in computer science. I'm going to add another space here and remove the space from here. So it's going to say you got, and it will show me whatever was typed here in grade. So I'm going to type grade, okay, and then I'm going to put another comma. I'm going to open quote, leave a space, and I'm going to say you got whatever grade in computer science. But I'm not going to finish it there, and I'm going to say and your average was colon space and single quote and comma, and I'm going to show the average. So I'm going to type AVG. Now, when we're using real numbers, okay, we need to explain to Pascal how we're going to show that decimal. So to do that, we need to put a colon on the AVG variable, like so, and then we need to define how many numbers will be shown that are before the decimal. So I'm going to say I want to show maximum of 3 numbers, and then another semicolon to show how many decimal places we want to display. In this case, I want to display a maximum of 2 decimal places. So I'm going to hit that, and then I'm going to close parenthesis and put a semicolon. Now, for all this information to stay on the screen, we need to add another statement, which is the read-ln statement, and a semicolon. Now, that's quite a lot of work we've done here. I'm going to get rid of some of these spaces, like that. And let's take a look one more time at what's happening while we run the program. So I'm going to compile and save the program. So I'm going to call this one second lesson, like so. And I'm going to hit save. Okay, so there's no mistakes, there's no errors here. And I'm going to hit that execute button, and let's see what happens. Now, don't forget that Pascal works with a top to bottom approach. That means that it starts from the top and then it goes line by line down. So when the program starts, already it's created all these variables. Already it's initialized these 2 variables, which means that now at this current point in time, the grade variable and the average variable have a value of 0 and 0.0 respectively. Okay, and now Pascal is asking me to write my name. I'm going to try and make this a bit bigger so you guys can see it clearer. Okay, so Pascal is asking for my name. So this is the first thing that we see here. Now, if I type in Stavros, okay, and hit the enter button, the moment I hit the enter button, whatever I've written here will be immediately stored into this variable, the first name variable. So I'm going to hit enter, and we can't see that it's been done, but we see that it's moved to the next line, so it's moved to line 15. And line 15 is asking for us to type F if we're female, or M if we're male. So I'm going to type in M, okay, and I'm going to hit enter. The moment I hit enter, this M will be stored in the initial variable. So whatever I type here will be put inside the initial variable. I'm going to hit enter. And as you can see, it's going to the next line, which says, what number grade did you get for computer science? And I can see it in both windows. So I can see it here on the command prompt. So I'm going to say that I got 100. Okay. And automatically this will be stored in the grade variable. So I'm going to hit enter, and now it's going to ask me what average grade did you get in computer science. Now we have to remember, here it is again, we have to remember that we said that the average AVG here is a real number, so I'm going to say that my average was 95.0. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. Now the moment I hit enter, again, whatever I've written here will be stored in the AVG variable. Okay, and then it will move to the next line, and it's going to show me all this code. All this code on the screen. It should say, hello, Stavros, you are M. Okay, and then it should say you got, and it should show the grade, which is 100, and then it's going to say in computer science, and your average was, and it should show the average value, which we put here, theoretically with one more 0. So I'm going to hit enter now, and let's see if that happens. So it says, let's make this a bit bigger. So it says, hello Stavros, you are AM. okay, which doesn't sound very good. You got 100 in computer science, and your average was 95. So what I want you guys to remember is that when we're using the right-to-lens statement, we can do all sorts of things. If we put anything with single quotes, it will be displayed exactly as we wrote it here. Anything without quotes is considered a variable. So in this case, for example, here the first name is a variable, and what Pascal will try and do is it will try and find the value of this variable. So whatever we wrote, or if we didn't write anything, it will give us the value of a blank value. Okay? So this is pretty much how we output anything in Pascal, whether it's the value of a variable or whether it's just static text, basically text that doesn't change. Okay? So we can use this for countless occasions, but you should always remember that anything with quotes is just text and it will appear exactly as you wrote it on the screen, whereas anything without quotes is a variable, and Pascal will look to find whatever that variable is storing inside it. Okay? So I hope this video was helpful. It was another short one, but this one pretty much covers everything you need to know about creating variables. It covers the most common data types. So it covers characters, strings, integers, and real numbers. And we also showed how we can output or show things on our screen. So I hope everyone enjoyed this one. I hope you found it helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.